pop this up here. Okay. So we're trying to do a little Group C race car using our new friend Grease Pencil. And how does it go? We need to be able to see. I want to see the 3D cursor at least. Let me see. No, not in that view. Maybe in this view. I would like to see 3D cursor. And I haven't tried them yet, but they look pretty good, and a lot of people keep bringing them up, so I'm guessing it's gonna be good. And plus, he's sort of a genius, so I think you have I think it's gonna be good, no matter what. Maybe just circles here. See over here, I'm probably gonna have something. It's a little bit awkward working with Grease Pencil still. I don't really know what I'm doing. Maybe like that's better. Can we move this stuff down? I like that you can move your lines after. Like this. Yeah, I wish I would have listened earlier to people that were telling me to switch over. Oh, we need to be top view. Yeah, about there. This reminds me of school. Just drawing all of our orthos and with tape. We used to draw this, all of our side view and front view and everything with really thin tape. It's kind of a crazy, weird way to draw. But the tape is nice because you can get really smooth curves with it. Some of the teachers would be really dramatic with it too. like full length, let's see, tape drawing. Here we go. It's a start of another tangent. So yeah, in car design school, this is how they drew. There you can see some tape. Yes, look how dramatic this. This is how car designers draw. They put on these weird designer glasses and then they get into a surfing position. Gotta have your knees bent. What is he doing? It's okay, chair. Everything's gonna be all right. Tape drawing. Look at this guy. So this, yeah, it feels like tape drawing, this whole grease pencil thing. This guy doesn't look like he knows what he's doing. Hey! Oh wait, no, I thought I knew him, but I don't know him. Man, I love that. It's the most dramatic drawing that you can do. Anyway. Although I kind of feel like curves can do the same job here. Maybe better too than what we're doing with the grease pencil. I don't know. Maybe the grease pencil is like the first stop in the process. And then after you have your lines in like this, then you could, I guess you would just skip the curves section of it. Like, would I just start building the wheel in here? Is that better? Yeah, I think we have Bezier curves here. Oh, and NURBS curve. Where did it go? My menus aren't working anymore, but here's a NURBS curve. This is what we would be using in a tool like Alias Studio Tools. That little pain in the ass car design program. But I'm glad that we don't have to use curves anymore. Let me see. What options do we have for Bezier curve? Extrude. Yeah, so you would make like lofts. But I mean, it's so much easier to just use regular Blender geometry to make curves. Just regular polygons. I feel like it's a much better way to work. Let me see if we start to build this out. What would happen? I mean, maybe once you have your rough in, then you lay in some surfaces and then you can draw over the surfaces. Does that make sense? But this ruins the kind of like the nice gestural quality of the lines. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you know what? The cool thing about the tilt brush and the VR stuff, actually guys, let's look at this video from today. I was watching this while I was taking my morning poop. Blender VR. These guys are actually doing it in Blender. Blender VR. So definitely, if you're interested in VR, you should be following this person, whoever this is. They're doing VR in Blender. So, I mean, if they can get the controllers to move the viewport and all that, then of course this would be perfect for Grease Pencil, actually. I'm going to write a comment down here. Can this work for Grease Pencil? This is really cool stuff. Oh, yeah, what were we thinking? Maybe create surfaces with the fill brush instead of polygons. How does the fill brush work? Is that this poly build? Or what? Where do we find the fill brush? My grease pencil at 0. Oh. Oh, making surfaces with you. Yeah, maybe. But can you do curved surfaces with that? Like, what if we want to do this body side here? Let me grab this stuff here. Yeah, so I'm using the top view as a place to put the 3D cursor, and we can draw like that. Or I don't know, what would be a better way? Maybe we could just have a plane in here, like a big plane. Just put it over here. What does this look like? Hey, Sina. Good night. And what are you doing watching this right now? Okay, let's go to surface. I really wish it would show up here. cool. Get a little chop action. But then again, I feel like this is so much easier to do with edges. If we were gonna draw out like the side over here. Is it possible to make a pie menu with color picker? Yeah, that's what would be ideal. Automatically duplicate the current material and change the color. I'm sure it's possible, it's just that somebody has to do it. But also I think it's not really ideal to be creating new material each time you want a different color. Because what if your scene has, you know, thousands of different colors, and then your grease pencil has a gazillion materials, and I feel like that's not really good. It should just work off of vertex color. That would be better. Let's see if we can draw. Oh, isn't there a circle here? But it looks very strange. What is this all about? Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Oops. Seems like the beginning has a little bit of a lag and a straight. It puts a straight line in if you're going too fast. See that? That's not, I didn't go straight there. So, I wonder what that is. If you go slow, you don't see that. Oops. What if we go like that? Damn, selection is kind of clumsy. I wonder if we could do like okay, we gotta go to edit mode, then select, then select linked. Damn. This is pretty clumsy. Okay, here we go. Save that. I tried duplicate radial yesterday and it crashed. And it doesn't seem to do anything today at all. Interesting. Inoki, how it flows, did you manage to frame yourself? Yeah. I'm still struggling a little bit, but I'm trying to make a race car. I don't know. I feel like a lot of this stuff should just be done with regular modeling, maybe. Another idea, yeah, the L shortcut works. Another idea is maybe you just get a bunch of, I mean, you could draw with your extrude to cursor. I feel like this is a little bit less trouble than grease pencil. Maybe you would use a grease pencil to do your first basic pass, and then here turn it down. How is GP so far? Yeah, that's how I feel about it. It's kind of fun and quick, but I'm not getting. I feel like it needs some work to be a little bit smoother, but it does feel nice to build out a quick sketch like this. Let's see, so if we had the plane, so maybe after the grease pencil, then you would go and trace over it with more precise. What? Okay. Be more precise like this. Let's see if I wish you could see the edges smooth though. Oops. Okay, it doesn't like that. Where was it? Group C. It would be a lot better if we could, so there's this overlay canvas thing, right? Does anybody know how this works? It looks like this would be useful, like this, to be able to draw on this canvas, but first of all, it's not even drawing on the canvas, so I don't understand what the point of it is. Does anyone know how this canvas works? What we got here? Oh, here we go. That looks better. But then how do we move the canvas? How do we move the canvas? Do we have to move the object? Oh, okay. So the canvas is just the center of the grease pencil object, but then how do we, like, what if we wanted to, So I guess we would have to move the entire model somewhere else, and then we can, then we can draw on this canvas. Let's see. Oh, that's a good idea. Look at it in outliner. I mean, that's one way to do it, but that seems pretty cumbersome. What if we need to rotate the canvas? Let's see, here's a grease pencil, GP layer. Nope, that's... So I guess maybe they're planning to add in that functionality later, where you could move the canvas around, maybe angle it. That would make this whole system way better. Yeah, I just want to rotate that canvas and use it. Okay. Well, I don't think it's working for now. But we could, in the meantime, maybe we just use a plane. It's not really ideal. But let's see. What if we put this plane like at an angle here? I just want to be able to draw like a little window here. So I'll use... So this is a pain, because then you have to switch back to the grease pencil layer manually. Then you have to go into draw mode, and then you can draw. But then you have to go on surface, and then you have to go on none. That's a lot of steps. But if there was a way to use this, or even just switching back and forth from moving this plane straight into grease pencil would be pretty useful. So if we could grab this plane, move it over here. Maybe. Okay, what about like right here? And then we need to be able to go back into grease pencil, back into draw mode in one click, hopefully. Maybe, how could you do that? So basically the grease pencil object should come with a plane like this that you can move around while in grease pencil mode. And it's an infinite plane, kind of like the canvas idea that they have here. You can rotate it, you can position it how you want, and then draw. Oops. And then if we go edit, connected. All right, and then let's see, I'm going to try to build this one. I'm just extruding to cursor here. I'm putting in these two lines where basically where that curve goes. just make a new piece. Doesn't let me select verts with box select. That's no good. Huh. Hey Peter, I think I'm doing this the wrong way. Let me just make a 12-sided. There. GP, although powerful, it's still immature. Probably needs a lot of things. Should be developed on a whole short film. Gravity Sketch. Yeah, Gravity Sketch looks really cool. But the main feature of Gravity Sketch is this, just that you can draw lines using the Oculus controller, right? I feel like that should be doable. There, something like that. Hey Ryan Jones, welcome. Yeah, what time is it for you over in Japan right now? Alright, let me make... There we go. It's 8:20 a.m. Wow. Okay. 1:20 in Italy. How long have you been using Blender, Noki? Seem like you know a lot about what's going on. And Mr. Mountain says, I'm not sure I'm digging the new KDE icons. Man, I think this is like the 8th time somebody's mentioned Jama. I think he's pretty much the king of 3D drawing at this point. This is just regular box modeling at this point, Ryan. So we're just trying to use grease pencil as like a proportional tool to figure out what the thing will look like. Actually, I want to add a material to make this a little bit easier on the eyes and maybe a little bit see-through too. I'm hoping to be able to see the lines, but I guess not. Do you guys know of a way to make the lines go through? Oh, here we go. Put this on multiply. Put this back to 0. And the color should be brighter. Alright, that's not bad. It's getting a little bit confusing over here, but additive. Oh yeah, that works too. It's a bit confusing though. What material? Material 002? Oh, because we have additive going on. Let me... Huh. Oops. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Lee. I like the icons, but then again, I do use KDE. What is KDE? The snap of points on GP drafts work. I don't know. I mean, we can snap to the surface of this. Oh shoot, is this thing frozen? Oh. KDE is Linux. Oh, okay. Damn, you guys are hardcore. Why are apps associated with it? Are they like borrowing icons and stuff from the Linux desktop? One second, my door is being annoying. Open source all the way. I mean, I tried Linux for a while, but I wasn't man enough. I couldn't handle it because of Dropbox. I needed Dropbox. And also Photoshop. But if you guys are using Linux, that's pretty awesome. I wish I could do that. So the question for me is, would this have been easier to just do as a model in the first place and skip all the 3D, all the grease pencil? The grease pencil is cool, but is it worth it? Maybe grease pencil is more... Oh man, maybe you do the model first, and then when you're at a point like this, then you draw the grease pencil over to figure out the graphics. Maybe that's what it's for. It's more useful for iteration suggestions. Yeah, I think so. For animation. I wish the Blender menu would integrate into the global menu as well. Like, integrate into Windows or Mac? Alright, so I wonder if we have this with the subsurf on it, like so. Maybe join this one in too. Let me do the mirror too. I should take advantage of mirror tool because we're... Oh, come on. Oh, damn it. Shit. Oh, okay. Whew. At least there's something. Dang it. Well, let me do that stuff first and see if it crashes again. Let me save that. Why isn't this working anymore? It won't let me select through. Oh no, this is not good. Man, why did they change? Is the Blender UI fully done in Python? Or, because I noticed like a lot of these menus and stuff are all seem to be Python, right? Edit source. And it gives you all of this stuff. It's scripted in Python. So, okay, what does that mean? So there's more to it than just... Does Python control all of the layout, though, of things? And it uses OpenGL, too? I think... Just, I don't know, what can I say? Oops. Blender's written in C. What do you guys think about this top bar here? Because 2.8 comes with this top bar by default, and it's 90% of the time it's empty, which is kind of weird looking. It looks off. So I usually just close it, but I don't know, do you guys use the top bar at all? Like, even if we go into a tool here, it's not really doing anything up here. I feel like if this was going to be useful, then all of our tools would have their settings up here, but they're not. I guess you have to click on these ones to get them to work. But even if we use these buttons, how many of these actually need an entire, all of this space? Some of them don't even have any options up here. I just think that this is a really huge waste of space. It's kind of awkward. If anything, this stuff right here, whatever pops up in front of our face right here, could be on one of these things. But popping up under the mouse, maybe. I don't know. But I don't want to complain anymore, because I did a lot of complaining this morning. Whoa, you guys are... Blender is written in C. It means the declaration of various UI components are defined in C++. Implementation of... Oh, cool. So you've contributed stuff to Blender, Ryan? The framework work is written inside the hard Blender interface, and GUI is in Python. When you're on the bleeding edge, you bleed. They need to unify those tool properties and not have them scattered all around the UI like that. You're a graphics person. So graphics as in like graphics like rendering and stuff like that, or UI? Yeah, we were doing the grease pencil stuff, and it's kind of ridiculous where these settings are showing up. Like, for example, when you're doing when you're working in grease pencil, okay, now it's filling up the top bar, so that's a little bit more useful. But then your layer and like stroke settings are all the way up here next to the stuffed in the corner. That's definitely not where you would expect to see it. If anything, it should pop up here inside the 3D view, not across the entire program. Alright, Ryan does rendering in 3D. Nice. Do you do cycles or Eevee or viewport or what? Top bar can be hidden and everything in the top bar appears in the panel buttons. Yeah, that's good. I'm glad. It's no problem that the grease pencil UI isn't complete. Alright. Yeah, I need to stop giving so much shit, but top bar in general, I don't see the use of this stuff. Oh, I think he said he does graphics coder, like, yeah. What was I looking for? All right, since you're here, Ryan, I'm going to show you my thing that I spent a million years on. Where is it? And see what you think. So, wait, do you work on the Eevee engine, Ryan? I feel like this is definitely the coolest thing about 2.8 for me is Eevee. And this thing takes forever to compile now. It's loading, guys. Oh man, your day job is real-time 3D. Here we go, guys. We have an Eevee man in the house. Well, not really an Eevee guy, but someone who knows how Eevee works. So my question for you, Ryan, is, I mean, okay, for me, the holy grail for Eevee would be just shadows, like better shadows. Any kind of, because check out this shadow here. It's mixing between the contact shadow and the regular shadow, but there's like a gap in between it. It's kind of, and it does weird things like that. And like, I don't know, everything else looks great. I think the real-time reflections and the screen space refraction are great. I have no problem with that stuff. I think that all works. Because reflections, like, you don't even know what's a correct reflection anyway. As a human being, I feel like that's a lot easier to get that, to forgive that. But then the shadows, though, shadows are weird. Like this shadow right here, that's pretty weird. See you, Zen. What's my lighting setup? Let's see, properties. Here's my shadows. Yeah, I have contact shadows on. I have contact shadows on all my lights here. But is it this one? I'm trying to find which one is creating that big shadow right there. Pink one. Here we go. Let's just have one light. I guess that's better there. But like as you turn, the shadow grows and it does weird things. I mean, like I saw the RTX demo where they were showing like the real ray traced reflections, and I thought, man, I would much rather have ray traced shadows than ray traced reflections. Okay. ESM to VSM. ESM is more experiment for realistic area light shading. So what is VSM? It's like a more basic version. Let me see. Damn it, why can't I select? Oh. VSM is typical shadow mapping. Shadow mapping is a technique that most engines use, where they render the scene from a point of view of the light. Huh. Okay, so when we're looking at the resolution of the shadow, that's just the resolution of the render that they take for the shadow. Let's see, I have ESM. If the light is a point light, this works fine. If it's an area light, it's harder to figure out what is occluded. Okay. So I have these gigantic area lights, and maybe that's why it's not working. But you kind of need that for this kind of the soft studio light. Would you recommend, is there a way to fake that or work around this to make it? Basically, what I want is ray trace shadows and everything else the same. Like, I don't care about ray trace reflections. I don't care about anything else. The subsurface scattering that they have looks great. The ambient inclusion looks great. It's just the shadows are janky. Harder point light, but I don't want any harsh shadows in here. I want what I want is kind of a studio setup, studio lighting, like a car studio, like softbox type shadows. So I want very, very, very soft shadows. Maybe like that, or something like that, where it's hard and then it fades off into a soft shadow like this. Or, like, let me see if I can find a car studio. Basically, 90% of what I do is going to be some kind of studio light setup like this, where it's just a giant light and really, really soft shadows. Even if we could get, so just use a studio HDRI. So would we be able to get some soft shadows from the HDRI though? Huh. Let me try VSM too. Oh yeah, so what's the difference between the cube size and the cascade size? Size. Sunlight. Size of point in area light. Oh. Ray trace shading gets it closer. What if I go super low res on this? As you move the camera farther from the surface, the shadow is on. Huh. Interesting. Alright, well, I guess it's good to know that this is a problem that's for real. It's not just user error, hopefully. Do you think that, you know, if the RTX thing stuff makes it into Blender, that there would be an option for ray trace shadows only? Or like maybe you have a choice between ray trace shadows or ray trace reflections or something like that? Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, if it actually works and we can get ray trace shadows, I'm definitely gonna get one of those things. Yeah, you're right. Could do cycles. What do you think about, what if there was a way to use cycles only for the shadows and then comp it in together with Eevee for everything else? You know what I mean? So if, let's say that it's like a combined Eevee and cycles mode where you get, you basically have like a clay white material for cycles just to get the shadows, and then everything else, and then that pass that renders out gets comped onto Eevee afterwards, like a black and white shadow pass from cycles. I mean, yeah, I don't know. That hybrid solution is kind of RTX is all about. Real-time rastered graphics aren't going away, but instead combined with ray tracing. Saw a guy on YouTube who made it. Oh, really? Was he, what program was that happening in? Oh, man. I guess I shouldn't complain though, because this, I think it's pretty close. Maybe I might even be happier to if we can get the shadows to be even just blurred more, like in the light settings. Maybe if we were able to just make the softness even more than, because right now it kind of caps at, wait, where is it? Yeah, I mean that's what I was doing. I have this scene all set up in cycles too, for, I mean, from before, but I yeah, I wanted to do animation stuff, but I guess you can't have it all, right? I think actually the animation stuff, it works better in animation because you don't have time to like sit there and study the shadows, but it looks pretty good. Yeah, that's true. Alright, I'm gonna look this up. Let's see here. Oh, of course, CG Masters. They're ahead of the game here. Minute 27. Let's see. Try to put the volume on for you guys.
cycle scene I'm representing as the master scene, and the render layer here, here's our scene, and there's the render layer, and then here we've got another render layer which is our Eevee scene, which just has the one view layer in it, and we're just doing a little bit of color correction and just adding them together. Now technically you should, I think, be able to just simply hit render, hit F12, and it should render everything out okay, but doesn't seem to be rendering the second scene that we've got here.
Oh,
So
okay.
to manually do this, we're just going to click on not set as visible. It's also not going to and whistles going on anyway. So in this scene, I've done a bit of a test to combine two different engines. I'm taking the surface shading of the Cycles rendering engine and the volumetrics of the Eevee engine. To do that, I'm going to need two different scenes. So right now I'm in the modeling workspace, and it's just got a bunch of them. Lumping that together with this color ramp, this render layer is being, which allows us to be able to do a few.
What's the rule with copyright strikes? Does it have to be in like little sections?
Now this layer, this render layer, is being used for rendering, as you can see here. And again, just to emphasize this, we're set to actually just make sure you've highlighted the correct. It would basically be like here. What's going now? You'll notice it also.
Well, yeah. Okay. So yeah, this similar idea to comp stuff from Cycles into Eevee. So same thing. But what if we could do like, what if? Okay, so in Eevee, what if we can turn off all of our shadows? So let's say let me get rid of a bunch of lights here. Oops. I'm gonna get rid of all these other lights for a second. And just turn off all the shadows. Alright, so no shadows here. But there are still shadows on the body. So is there a way to get Cycles to only give us the contact shadows, maybe? Or like the cast shadows. Okay, if I go into my other scene with Cycles. Oh, actually I don't need to do that. I just switch to Cycles over here. And just wait for a minute. Okay. Where is it? Man, these little scroll bars are really annoying too. Can't see what's on the end there. Light, give me a light. Why are you putting it in that? This stream is all about me not knowing how to use Blender. That's all. Okay, let's add a light. Put it over here. Let's switch to Cycles. You can set an object as a shadow catcher and it only renders shadows on it. So would that work for these guys too? I would have to set everything to a wait, if I set everything to a shadow catcher, would that ruin it? Shadow catcher. There we go. What if I put everything to be a shadow catcher? Oh man, okay, this is gonna freeze up in a second. 1 minute. Hold down Alt, click that. Oh man, this is so cool. You get to ask questions, ask Ryan millions of questions. Cycles is not good for stream. That's right. Okay, so if we put everything as a shadow catcher, that basically doesn't work. That's probably not what you're supposed to do. You only want surfaces with shadows to be a shadow catcher. So if you want something to self-shadow, it may not be possible. Yep, that's the problem, because the bike needs to catch shadows from itself also. For these kind of shadows right here. What if we... graphics as in video games? Like Square Enix? What is it? Is it Nintendo? Is it we got Nintendo people on the stream, everybody. No, just kidding. Do you know, actually, do you guys know if there's a way to set an override for the whole scene for one material? Like if I want this whole thing to be just clay. That would be nice. GPU. Where's clay? How do we make it render layer? Passes. Deep. I see debug render time. Where's debug material? Denoising. Wait, is it supposed to be in here? In your render layer. Debug render time. Oh, what about this? Can we just render a shadow pass here? Alright, I'm going to try to render a shadow pass right here. The other thing about rendering that I've always found confusing is even if you don't have combined selected, it still tries to render the full combined pass. Like if we go render here, let me give it a small amount of samples here. Where's our samples? Oh, here we are, 32. Okay, so if we go Z, render image, and see how this works. Oh, I'm gonna have to try that clay render plugin. It's a very, very nice feature. Alright, so I did not have a full render pass, but it still renders it anyway. So that's always confused me. Shadow, here we go. So I feel like this is about right. You have to duplicate the scene, 1 Eevee and 1 cycles. Okay, so if we get this image here, and then we get a Eevee image, then multiply this onto the Eevee image, would that work? Is that the same thing? Or not? we duplicate this scene? Okay, if we duplicate this can be seen, or do I duplicate the render layer? Whatever, I'll just duplicate the scene. This one's called scene cycles. One more full new full copy. And then this one can be Eevee. And then we go up here. Let's make this one Eevee. Alright, I'm going to turn off my shadows on this light. It does look pretty different though already. Oh, that doesn't help. Anyway, I think I got a little sidetracked here. But thanks for the help, guys. Yeah, I feel like a curve because it has a lot of gray in it. Also, the Eevee render would need to be pretty much straight albedo. Yeah, that's true. So you wouldn't, but you would keep your reflections from Eevee, right? But you would have to remove any surface, like any kind of diffuse shadowing in Eevee, which is also difficult. Maybe it's not worth it. Maybe it's not worth it. I think I'll live with my weird shadows for now. But yeah, this has been pretty interesting. I'm glad I'm glad we got to talk to Ryan, because this doesn't happen very often, to see somebody who actually knows what they're, it's like behind the scenes and everything. It's pretty cool. All right, Ryan, see you next time. Bye. Yeah, so my dad is a programmer, and I remember growing up he'd always be like, "Oh, look at this program I made of, it's a bunch of little creatures and they're trying to eat each other, and it's a genetic algorithm and shit like that." And I would always be, I don't know, I always just didn't care that much or thought it was okay but not that exciting, because he would be super excited about it. But now I feel like I'm becoming a little bit more excited about programming and stuff, because I feel like especially tools. Like, I feel like tools are really interesting to see how people use stuff, and I've been kind of a user all my life, using all these different art tools and complaining about them my whole life, and now I finally feel like I can start to think about contributing to things and try to make things better, possibly in a tiny, very, very tiny way, even though I'm not really programming anything. I'm just trying to learn about it and like figure out how these things work. But it's very interesting, and it's cool that these guys do all this stuff and give us these amazing tools. See ya, Noki. Good. Well, yeah. Thanks, Mr. Mountain. Hey, Andrew. Welcome. We were actually just talking about tape drawing, but yeah, we're using Blender's grease pencil and just testing it out. It kind of is like a tape drawing type of thing. Let me show you. So it looks like that, and we can draw stuff if we go in here. Go on grease pencil layer, and then we can draw. And then we go. It's just a little bit finicky, so I'm still getting used to it, but it's been fun playing with it. Yeah, I don't know why. Oh, that's why. I need to go by 3D cursor. There we are. I think we can edit these too. Connected. And we could draw, like, put something right there. Which way do NACA ducks go? Is it this way? And where would it go? It's probably over here, right? We gotta move it. Yeah, it's pretty fun. And basically, wherever you put this Waldo looking ugly ass 3D cursor, that's where you can draw. No, I'm using tablet. I also use tablet for 3D modeling, or for everything pretty much, because I was using a mouse for a while and I started to get like wrist issues. So the tablet I think is a lot easier on your wrist. Oops. Yeah, if you guys have any kind of wrist issues using a mouse, then yeah, you should give a tablet a shot. I think it's a lot less stress on your wrist. But yeah, you do miss the scroll wheel. That's the one thing that's I wish they came out with a pen that had a scroll wheel on it. But basically, the workaround for the scroll wheel is like, well, for certain tools, we have, like for bevel, you have B and then S. So you just move your cursor instead of using a scroll wheel. So that kind of thing, I feel like if this could be implemented for everything else that uses a scroll wheel, like just pressing S, that would be really awesome. But we do not have that yet. But most things I don't miss the scroll wheel. Like for zooming, I just use Control, Shift, middle mouse. Yeah. What am I doing? Kind of cool. We can just like trim our lines a little bit. What if we do, let's draw rectangle, rectangle. Yeah, that's true. But then you have to move your hand off the keyboard to use the scroll wheel, which is not good. Auto hotkey. How would you do it in auto hotkey to set up the mouse scroll wheel? Where did it go? This one was just drawing from scratch and putting in a couple cross lines, which was not as smooth as I hoped it would be. Because you have to kind of pray that it lines up. But I also started building a 3D model underneath, just to help. Yeah, how can you do it? With auto hotkey. That would be really nice. Oops. I like this GP edit. It's really nice. Or grease pencil edit. Because you could change the, you just combine that with proportional, and then you get a really nice control. I probably should have just done it here. Yeah. I forgot that you can edit your existing lines. Oops. Yeah, so far I haven't figured out a good way to really like cruise on it. It's a little bit slow. But it's pretty interesting though. I feel like you might get some shapes that you normally wouldn't if you were modeling. Like what if I pull this out? That's kind of nice. I feel like these are the kind of lines that maybe I wouldn't normally make in 3D. You need a way to occlude the strokes in back Well, how does it know what's in back and what's in front? Maybe just by depth it like fades by what's farthest from the camera, becomes less. Never used one of those. Does it make this look like ancient technology? Scrolling around everywhere. I think you can animate it actually, yeah. Because they've made short films with this tool, animated shorts. Let me see if this build thing works. Oops. This is my favorite part about it. I love that. Maybe I can delete this edge here. Do you guys know how to go back to the first frame? Oops. There we go. Maybe back here. Man, why can't you select stuff in draw mode? Oh, alright, see ya, Mr. Mountain. Where's Simulate some rough volume of the drawing. Good night. Yeah, I should probably go too. This has been a lot of testing today. It's kind of fun, but I have a lot of stuff to learn on this. But anyway, thanks for joining in, guys. What? Oh, damn it. Hmm. Turn this on again. Here we are. Oh, boy. All right, guys. Have a good rest of the day. Oh, well. Kind of does it weird. Okay. Whew. See you later.